Right now, we're going to switch you to the man who owns Philadelphia, Bryant Gumbel. Have you lost weight?
I'm trying, Willard. I feel like I've lost a person already. Easy to pick our Sportsman of the Week today. Our Sportsman of the Week en masse are the Indiana Hoosiers, in particular head coach Bobby Knight, who masterminded last night's championship victory, a 63-50 victory on this Spectrum floor here in Philadelphia. It was Indiana's second championship, Knight's second in the last 6 years. Tough to deny that the Hoosiers are perhaps the best team in the country. They won their 15th in the last 17 outings, their 10th straight, they're Big Ten champions, and now national champions. Early on in last night's ball game, it was North Carolina that jumped out into the lead with a pressure defense. When Al Woods hit this bucket, 2 of his 18 on the night, they had a 16-8 lead. But Indiana came back after a timeout. Landon Turner with a stuff inside right here, and when Randy Whitman hit a bucket from the corner, it was 20-20. When they went to the locker room, IU led by just one, 27-26. It was when they came back from the intermission that Indiana blew it away with Isaiah Thomas leading the way. His steal and breakaway here was part of an 18-8 spurt. Indiana came out shooting 63% in the second half. When Randy Whitman hit that one, he opened up a 15-point lead 7 minutes in. Thomas wound up with 23 and the game's MVP.
We calmed down and we just were a lot more patient the second half, and we executed much better than we did the first half.
I just had that faith. I knew we could do it. We put it together as a team. There was no individual stars. We all played together, and here we are.
Is it sweeter the second time around, or do you even compare them in your own mind?
Well, I don't think that you can really say that one is more enjoyable than the other. I think that what you do is you say, hey, we had a great group of kids in 1976. It was almost a relief then for us to win it because we'd been the best team in the country for 2 years. And I talked to Quinn Buckner this afternoon, and had that team not won it, it had been a great disappointment for us. Had this team not won it, you know, we did the best we could. We came as far as we could have. The satisfaction is just as great this time as it was the last time because it's a completely different group of kids involved. And I can remember the experience as a player in 1960 when we won it under Fred Taylor at Ohio State. I remember the experience as a coach in 76. And now again, I think more now, knowing the experience of the past, how much these kids are going to enjoy it. And not just tonight, but enjoy it for a long time.
This was the second time in 2 games here in Philadelphia that your guys went in the locker room from a close ball game, came out and opened up a double-figure lead. What kind of things did you say in the locker room tonight?
Well, Brian, it really wasn't anything. What we said tonight was simply this. Hey, great shot, Randy. You got us ahead for the first time in a ball game as there were zeros on the clock. And that puts us in a position, not that just that shot, but our play the last 7 minutes of the first half puts us in a position where we can win the ball game.
Do you consider Bobby Knight a tough coach to play for?
Well, I'm sure I'm a lot tougher to play for than a lot of guys. And if I were recruiting you and you were back when you were an athlete in high school, I'd tell you that. I'd say, Bryant, there are a lot of guys you can play for that will be easier for you to play for than me, and I want you to think about that.
Why are you particularly tough to play for, do you think?
Well, because I'm going to demand that you go to class. I'm going to demand that you look and act like a representative of Indiana University should. And I might say tonight, the way you look, we could recruit you tomorrow. I wouldn't have to make any adjustments with you at all in that regard. And I want you to know that I would be demanding of you in practice, that I'd be on you to get the best out of your ability, that if I didn't think you were doing it, I'd get after you a little bit on occasion, and I want you to be ready for that.
I'd probably transfer. Final question, how long will you allow yourself the luxury of basking in a 63-50 championship before it's on to more work?
Well, you know, it's not going to be on to any more work because I'm going to go fishing. You know, I've been studying a lot of good trout streams out west and some bass streams and lakes in the Midwest, and it'll only be a couple days if we can get some good weather back home before I'll be fishing. I'm damn glad that I don't have to look at another reel of film for a while.
In light of events in Washington earlier in the day, there was a possibility last night that the championship game would not be played. There was some sentiment for the possibility that the game would not be televised, even if it was played. In the final analysis, the determining factor was the good condition of President Ronald Reagan. Once that was learned and it was decided that nothing would be served by staying on the air continuously from an NBC News standpoint, it was decided to go ahead with the game and the telecast. The Indiana Hoosiers seized the moment, and today they are national champions by virtue of a 63-50 victory. Bobby Knight and the Indiana Hoosiers are Sportsman of the Week. And the Today Show will continue right after these messages.